Day 2 of the vape.
Vaping! Oh, wait, no, that's what hipsters do. Vapors.
If you're a hipster listening to this podcast, I apologize.
They wouldn't admit it.
You know what? To me, it doesn't make sense that pipe smoking isn't something that hipsters do.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like something right up their alley.
Don't tell too much truth, man. I'm going to get the vapors. Pass out in this chair.
What?
The vapors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get them.
Are you making some kind of pop culture reference?
You don't know that? Oh, Lord, I got the vapors. And you just pass out like old Southern ladies. And that's why they always had those, like, weird chairs, those armoire chairs or whatever they're called.
Mm-mm.
No, well, there you go. When you get the vapors, it's
like when you...
It's like mild hysteria. It doesn't really make any
sense. It's not like swooning, is it?
Pretty much. You pass out and you're just like, oh!
Oh! Oh, God. Well, I was about to say, I mean, so far this is so much more of a vacation or heaven than last week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already enjoying this a lot. Not to say I didn't enjoy last week, of course.
Well, I think coming home to your favorite blend is nice. You know, I mean, because I think this is what you and I settled into predominantly in an evening, you know.
Yeah. This is probably going to be blasphemy on some level. I don't mean to do this. I'm just speaking my mind. As you people know I do. I love pipe smoking. The only thing that sometimes keeps me from doing it more often is the fact that if it's, say I've already ate dinner and I'm smoking a pipe before bed, the taste, no matter what I do, the smoke is going to stick to me until the next morning. There's nothing I can do about it. And to a certain someone, she does not like that. That is the biggest drawback that keeps me from being like a 2 bowls a day every day of the week kind of guy.
You know, I've got this pretty pungent cologne.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's a water base. I guess maybe they all are, but so it evaporates fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not stuck with that cologne smell on you.
Yeah.
You can spritz yourself with it, and you won't smell like smoke in the morning. And I do it every night. I just spritz myself down, and.
Well, I'm talking about on my breath.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, I should have made it more clear. I'm only talking about my breath. The smoke don't stick to my clothes at all, really. I'm just talking about my breath. If I've already ate and I'm not planning on eating anymore that night, I could gargle 5 times. I could gargle with mouthwash 4 or 5 times. I could brush my teeth twice, 3 times, 4 times. That smoke taste is going to stay on my breath until I eat breakfast or lunch the next day.
Interesting.
And that's what little Miss Lady don't like.
Yeah.
And I don't really like it either. I don't like waking up and tasting smoke in my mouth. If it tasted like the tobacco in my mouth, I'd be a little bit more okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That's something that just irks me. And again, it might be a little blasphemy. Listen, I get a little timid when it comes to critiquing things of the tobacco smoking pipe hobby, because I don't want anybody to misconstrue and think I don't like it, because why would I be doing a podcast about it if I didn't like it? But I'm going to be honest about it.
Well, and there's some aspects. I mean, I am not the biggest fan of cleaning pipes all the time, reaming them. Like every once in a while, I can get into that. But I was like, man, I could be smoking right now, and I'm sure someone out there is like, why don't you smoke and clean them at the same time? Because I don't want to.
Well, that's funny you say that, because like anytime you run down the rabbit hole of YouTube and you see like, I don't know, like a factory where people are making them, or somebody, some artisan maker making one, they're always smoking while they're making the pipe, and I just think it's so funny.
That just doesn't seem very relaxing to me. I just want to do the thing that I want to do while not doing anything else. Reading is the most active I can get while smoking a pipe. Outside of that, I don't really want to do anything.
I think I can sort of agree with you, but only in the sense of if I'm focusing in on, like, say it's a blend I've never had before,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm trying to understand a blend, then I can't really be doing anything other than relaxing or reading a book or maybe playing a game. But if I'm just smoking to get that relaxed feel,
Mm-hmm.
I could do anything. I could do anything while I smoke. I could cook. I could take a walk. But if I'm actually trying to focus in on a blend, I can't walk while I smoke.
Well, I think there's just too much going on. Even when you walk to a certain degree, you're going to get a little airflow in that chamber that you didn't want because you're going against, even if it's dead still, I find that burns a little hotter when I'm active. I don't always want that. That's why I have to kind of pick the blend, a very specific blend. I do a couple of different comparisons when I'm smoking something new. Like I'll try it when I'm sitting down, which is when I'm predominantly smoking. I'm always kind of in a lounger or something, and I'm just relaxing and smoking. But every once in a while, I smoke while I'm active. And I do a little test run every once in a while with new tobaccos to see how they test out while I'm active, because that is going to affect the flavor of that smoke. And I would prefer if it were consistent and doesn't get overpowering, which is probably why I sort of lean towards vapors, because I think that they're relatively consistent no matter what you're doing. I mean, I don't think I would want to be, or anybody would want to be stuck in a windstorm, because just lighting up in general would be a nightmare. But that constant airflow, that's going to, it's going to heat up my pipe to no limit, and then probably sour off those tobaccos. It's just not pleasurable.
I do know, like, there's some, I don't know if they're listeners, but I do know people that we follow, and I think they follow us on Instagram, that are big into lunting, the hiking while smoking. And I do think sometimes, I think they say there's a benefit to that, because you are sort of exerting yourself, right. And it also creates, it could create hallucinations.
Really?
It intensifies the tobacco. I'd read that somewhere. I've never lunted. Most I've ever done is walk, just like on an even ground. There's actually a cabin that was for sale that around these parts I wanted to buy and move into, and it came with like 5 acres of wooded land, and I was gonna cut me out like a 1 or 2 mile trail through it, and that was gonna be my morning like lunch. Coffee and a smoke and a hike.
There's nothing quite like having coffee with tobacco. They pair up so nice.
Mm-hmm. Only thing you gotta watch out for, in my personal opinion, is you gotta let that coffee cool just a little bit. Don't wanna burn your tongue and then have hot smoke hitting it too. For me, that's annoying to me.
I mean, it definitely kills everything about. Well, it definitely kills it when you're trying to enjoy it, that's for sure.
Yeah. But getting into this Escudo, or not Escudo, we did that yesterday. This Elizabethan.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get any further, I think I can understand why Old Stuff and Things chose Stratford as his replacement.
Yeah.
Because this is even more middle of the road than Escudo. Like, there's not a lot happening here. It's not complex.
It's not. It's really... And it's not middle of the road in a way that it's like, here, let me bestow upon you the tobacco to compare against all these types of blends.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more like, why am I smoking this? Scandinavian Tobacco Group produced Elizabethan, so why smoke it when you can smoke a Scudo? That would be my question. It's not that impressive to me.
If we're talking taste. Now, I know some people, the cut would make a difference. Some people would rather have that ribbon cut to that medallion.
I don't see why, man. That just seems crazy to me. But I mean, to each their own, obviously. And there's no wrong way to smoke a pipe in general, anyway. You might look foolish trying to smoke it upside down, but I mean, there's no wrong way, really. But I mean, to me, you know, you sort of already, you know, have an organization that is responsible for the classic of classic vapor blends. So I'm not 100% sure what the reasoning would be on trying to smoke something that just as what is it? I don't know. It's nothing. Yeah. It's not very meaty or hearty. It doesn't really kick you and knock you down. It's not something you want to smoke after a big meal. It's not something you smoke before a big meal. It's just there. It's just like, hey, you remember me? That's Elizabethan.
And to me, it could just be the name on it, Dunhill.
Yeah, except Nightcap and 965 are pretty awesome.
Well, I'm talking about for vapors.
Right, but I'm just saying they get that as well. And granted, we did have 965 lose out to Ashton Sorensen's blend. But I mean, those are very, I know you haven't smoked Nightcap, but it's a very flavorful and full and complex. And 965 has, you know, quite a lot of interesting notes as well.
I was comparing to Escudo. You were saying since Scandinavian tobacco group, since it does both, why would you pick one over the other? And I'm saying I think the name.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're doing something like buying Dunhill Navy rolls. It's just like, dude, just get the Escudo because it's going to be just as good. If anything, Escudo could probably benefit more from, you know, a couple years of age. But Elizabethan, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just not in the mood to hunt it down or do anything else with it because it's just meh.
It's sort of like, why waste your time?
Yeah.
But again, there's people out there that love it, and I'm not knocking anybody for liking it because everybody's taste is different. Nothing you can do about it. Just to me, it's just like a plain Jane. Like there's nothing. And again, like I said, I think I can sort of see why that guy went with Stratford. And I like Stratford, but it is I think Stratford's better than this.
That's kind of sad. It's like you took a step up. But I mean, like, if you guys haven't had an opportunity, this is kind of crazy because I'm kind of going off the rails a little bit, but we're smoking Elizabethan. We've had Escudo, you know. We've got Bullseye and Telegraph Hill. Now, Telegraph Hill is the one I'm really interested in.
Yeah. Because that's what's crazy. Maybe that's one thing we'll have to get to later is there's so many vapors that we like that did not make this cut.
That's what I'm saying. Once I find out what Telegraph Hill tastes like, which I know is going to be inferior to Fillmore, I'm going to recommend everyone go smoke Fillmore. Because that is a rich, delicious, just fruity, complicated, chocolatey dessert tobacco. I mean, I couldn't pitch it in any other way. It's perfect.
Now, is that something that you look for in a vapor? Is a fruity, chocolatey dessert type smoke?
Because as long as it's not topped, I feel like that's a characteristic. And I also mentioned that there's a sourness that comes with Fillmore, a layover grapefruit aftertaste, but it's got all those other flavors in it too.
You don't like grapefruit? You said it the other day.
I'm not really a fan. No. I can eat it. It's fine. I mean, it's just really, it has a different. The taste of grapefruit 2 hours after you've eaten it is actually all right. In other words, there's like kind of a residual citrus sour.
Yeah. I love grapefruit juice. I love that. I mean, I could drink that all day long. But I'm weird. I like V8, like plain V8.
I like V8 when you add Tabasco and vodka. What's that called? That's called a good morning. That's what it's called.
I was gonna say what it really is called. That's a good morning. It's funny because it's morning. Well, yeah. So I'm really disappointed. I'm happy because if I really liked it, then I'm sort of out of luck.
I think sometimes the best gift in life is finding out that something that is impossible to acquire is not good.
Mm-hmm. And I mean that is not playing a role in any of my decision making in this. I'll tell you that. Yeah. That's got nothing to do.
Like I can be a testament to like Patrick's. Really, he's so steadfast in having these set rules of reviewing and negotiating things. Like he likes the essentialness of something, which would be in tobacco's case, flavor. He's probably not going to really pay too much attention to the cut, packability, how it burns, what does it burn in that is, like what kind of pipe style or material does it burn best in. He's sort of just like, this is the way it tastes. I got a little wetness from it, but you're not really going to comment on that. Like, if you gurgle in the pipe, he doesn't really mention any of that kind of stuff. What he really cares about is overall flavor, overall consistency, and really, I think in this case and in other cases where we've talked about tobacco, is it something that he would recommend to you?
Yeah.
My thinking is like sort of more universal.
Yeah, which I think matters when it comes to personal. I think that's something you should care about.
Right. But I mean, I have like kind of a universal idea of the way things should be. Is it readily available? That's a certain amount of points in my decision. Does it have these notes that I like? Is it capable of being smoked all day? If you smoke too much of it, does it overpower you? Does it underwhelm? Does it sour? Those are the kinds of things I look for. Overall, the things I look for when I'm actually smoking it, is it rich? Does it have these characteristics of things that I like? Would it pair up well with something else? I don't think Elizabethan does any of those.
And that's one thing, that might be something that I'll grow into. Some of what you're talking about, like, does it sour? Does it get on top of you? Stuff like that. That might be something I'll grow into as I get older, or not older as an age, but get more years on me as a pipe smoker.
Mm-hmm.
But right, yeah. I mean, I would say again, no. Tobacco's good, no matter what it is. So, I mean, I think we've said that enough that we probably don't have to ever say it again. But
I mean,
tobacco's good.
I mean, I think if I was put on some sort of desert island or something, and someone said, "Here's an infinite number of pipes. You only get to smoke Elizabethan." I mean, I think I'd be an Elizabethan fan. I'd be like, okay, bring it on, I guess. I'll have to learn to love it.
But I will say that this is low on the list. It's so low that it'd be a toss-up if I'd smoke it or Margate.
Elizabethan is so low it has to look up and look down. Oh, yeah.
Good Lord. He's here all week, folks.
Oh, I agree, man. It's definitely not the best.
The fact that I would smoke, 3 out of the 4 Englishes we smoked last week over this.
Yeah, it's sad too because we're real big Virginia Perique fans.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I'm very excited now. It's just like you, I'm excited for Telegraph Hill. I've never had luxury bullseye flake. I've never had any of these vapors.
I've had everything except for telegraph hill.
Huh. Yeah. Huh.
As I stated before, I mean, once you try Fillmore, is there even a reason to go into another category? And I don't think there is.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes, to me, if a maker or a blender, a producer of tobacco feels the need to have multiple vapors in a lineup, then there's got to be something different about them, enough to be warranted. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, Fillmore may be the best, but it makes me be like, well, then why are they making Telegraph Hill? Why are they making Stratford? Why are people buying them? You know, so I guess there's got to be something that differentiates them, but not in a lower quality way.
I think it's just people. That's what differentiates it. You know, I think Elizabethan isn't a particularly great blend. Like you said, the Stuff and Things guy, he likes it a lot. But the reason he likes it, I think, is because I think that's one of his first tobaccos. And I have a deep love for Ashton still.
But you don't have a deep love for Margate still.
That's true. I also mentioned that maybe Ashton might have changed a little bit in its blend.
Yeah.
Like the reason it was good for me in my youth is not the same reason it's good for me presently.
Yeah. Now, granted, too, another thing that we have to think about, and I hate referring back to Stuff and Things, but it's sort of inherent with this episode because we're smoking, his baby. But, I think he's only been smoking, 6 years?
It hasn't been very long, I think. But, I mean, I don't...
But
has he not? I mean, are we just basing that on his YouTube channel? Did he start the YouTube channel because of pipes?
But it just doesn't seem like he's smoked as long as you have. Now, I'm not saying that means that you know more or anything like that. All I'm saying is you've had years, maybe, I don't know, maybe. And another thing, too, is I feel like he probably smokes more. Let's just hypothetically here. Let's say he's only been smoking 6 years. You've been smoking on and off for 13?
That's right.
I feel like, for the way he does stuff, I got to say that y'all probably smoked the same amount of bowls in your lifetime. Because he's got to be smoking 3 bowls a day, 3 or 4 bowls a day.
He does go through tins quite frequently.
Especially when he's reviewing stuff. So, like, though he may not have the years, he may have the bowls.
He might.
Because now we saw somebody today on Instagram mention that they smoke 10 to 15 a day. I couldn't get 10 to 15 in a week if I tried. Because if you did if you did 2 bowls a day every day of the week, that's still only 14.
Right. I can smoke maybe 6 bowls a day.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, but that, I mean, like, golly, like, well, what am I basing that off of, too? Usually I smoke smaller pipes. It's aesthetically pleasing to me to have a smaller pipe. I don't like big pipes as much. I have some big pipes, don't really use them that much. They're fine, but, yeah, I'm sort of a...
But your bowl size is still standard, right? Most of your bowl sizes?
I think Boswell isn't, really.
Your Boswell's not a standard one? Is it about so. This, about like Chody?
It's a little bigger, actually.
Oh, this guy is?
No, my Boswells are.
Oh.
Well, I think my Boswells are actually a lot bigger. And then I have I don't know if I've ever showed it to you, but I have a pipe that I call the Viking pipe.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a brandy glass.
Yeah, and it is gigantic. One day I'm just going to fill it up with my favorite tobacco. But I mean, like, smoking that joker is like smoking a half tin.
See, I think all my pipe bowls are... This is probably my smallest. This little old Boswell. My biggest is my billiard, my straight billiard, because it's got really thin walls. It's real deep. It's probably like a standard and a half, if I was gonna guess. But
golly, man, that's a huge bowl too. I've looked at that bowl a couple times and just been shocked as to how big it is.
And I can definitely tell the walls of it are thin, not by just looking at it, which of course you can look at and tell. But it gets hot. It gets hottest of all my pipes. It gets hotter just because there's not as much wood surrounding the bowl or around that area. So.
It kind of looks like they screwed up the drilling, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily aesthetically not pleasing or something. It's just, man, you really were going for the full on gigantic diameter, like it's just.
And one thing which I don't know if it's the way with all Peterson straight billiards, but it's not a system pipe. Like it's just a straight through.
Can you have a system in a straight pipe?
I don't know. It depends on how. I guess it depends on how big your shank is. If you got a pretty thick shank, I feel like you could still have that reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
It seems a little tricky, the drilling.
Yeah, man, all that drilling is pretty tricky. It looks like.
Yeah. How do you drill? I mean, yeah. I don't know, man. This Boswell almost has like a de facto system in it, in a way, because the hole where the tannin goes in, the draft hole is drilled a little bit lower.
Right.
So like I can't run a pipe cleaner straight through this guy.
I have the same. I struggle with the same thing here.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this pipe is really peculiar because the base tenon drill, which would be where the tenon fits in, goes in at a pretty normal angle, but then the draft hole is actually upward angled. So when you get a pipe cleaner down into this thing, it gets stopped by the tenon drill.
Okay, yeah.
And then you almost have to angle it upward to get it into the draft hole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost impossible.
Mm-hmm. See, with my Peterson, that first one I got, that Killarney, it is a system. And once or twice I've been able to run because there's such a curve on that stem, I've been able to run the pipe cleaner in, pull it back a little bit, and then turn the pipe cleaner and get that turned, and then run it back in and get through that reservoir. I've only done it once or twice.
It's hard to make it is extremely difficult to make a pipe cleaner responsive.
Mm-hmm.
They used to make these great pipe cleaners. I cannot remember what they were called. Like, I don't think they were Brevia. They might have been. Man, instead of the loose, I guess, aluminum wire that holds the bristles together, it was thick. So you could actually jam it. It wouldn't give if it hit a snag. You just keep fishing it until it went through because it was so rigid.
That's awesome.
It's one of the best pipe cleaners I've ever had. I cannot remember for the life of me what it is. And you can't find them. I don't know what happened to them, but they probably were too expensive to produce. But they're gone now. And those were the best pipe cleaners. And the cool thing was they come in a brown, like a paper brown envelope. And then when you open it up, you had two things. You had all the nice new bristles that were very, very rigid. And then they gave you like basically another bristle, but it was specific to getting out all the scratchy stuff inside the shank. It was a wired haired pipe cleaner, basically. And it was just an added little bonus you got with those things. I wish I had that tool because it made cleaning my shank so much better.
You know, it's funny. Growing up, you get pipe cleaners for like arts and crafts and craft in elementary school. I never associated pipe cleaners with pipe to like smoking pipes, tobacco pipes, which I'm sure they were invented just for that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But like I never I don't know why, but my mind never went to a pipe.
Well, you're in good company because every single time I have had a pipe cleaner out, literally the first thing I hear is, "Why you have a pipe cleaner? You're doing arts and crafts?" And then they see my pipe, and I literally point at it and say, "Well, it's for my pipe," and they go, and then there's that crazy epiphany.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Oh, it's for pipes."
Yeah.
It's a pipe cleaner. And they have this revelation right in front of me. And I go, yeah. I know I've seen this like 1,000 times. Like, get out of my office.
See, I've had a similar, because like I sort of just let it, like, whenever you got me into the pipes, it was like a little flash of like, oh, I guess I do need pipe cleaners. I need something to clean it with. And then I didn't think twice of it. It's sort of like you say it, and I'm like, all right, well, yeah, okay, let's do it. But so then I've had a similar experience, but instead of, it's more like a smart aleck person saying it. They were like, oh yeah, a pipe cleaner actually being used to clean a pipe. It's sort of like they had the epiphany, but they didn't want me to know they had the epiphany. They wanted to sound a little bit more smarter than they were, and more clever.
And I don't care. Like, you can get away with it if you don't know, or you just whatever. I feel like I probably, because you use them in elementary school or your primary years as a kind of a crafts project, and then it really doesn't come full circle until you see someone use one to clean out a pipe, and then it's literally you have disassociated that product with anything other than just crafts. I mean, you can go into Walmart and I could buy deep blue pipe cleaners, extra fuzzy, look like caterpillars. That probably won't do anything from a pipe.
Yeah.
But they're specifically for craft.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is, like, in my mind, arts and crafts, if I see a colored pipe cleaner, that's automatically what I think of. But if I see a white pipe cleaner, I don't associate that with crafts at all anymore. It's only pipes.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, it'd be kind of funny if you only assume, like, why do I have that? Oh, yeah, I'm a pipe smoker.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know, man. And it makes sense. It's just like, it makes sense why our generation, well, this generation and, millennials and such, why that would happen, because, pipe smoking isn't as popular now as it was, I guess, when the pipe cleaner was invented.
No, it's definitely not, and it's taken hits. And then, I think that there was sort of a mini resurgence in the 80s.
Yeah.
For pipe smoking, and then the 90s happened, and everyone wanted cigars.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really difficult to find a dedicated pipe shop anywhere in the country, because everyone really is just a cigar smoker. And I think you'd be hard pressed even if you were. I would almost completely guarantee. Now, there's a I want to throw a caveat on this, but at the end. But I would almost completely guarantee that there is no such thing as a pipe shop that doesn't have cigars. Now, granted, the original term wasn't a pipe shop; it was called a tobacconist.
Yes.
But a tobacconist would be someone who deals in tobacco, obviously.
Yeah.
But I doubt there are any tobacconists that are specifically pipes.
Yeah.
I've actually only ever seen that once. Never mind. I have an example of this. I've seen someone not sell cigars and it be a complete pipe shop.
What is it?
It was a pipe shop. They didn't sell any tobacco.
Oh, it just sold pipes.
It just sold pipes. That's the only time I've ever seen a pipe out, not out and about with somebody, but just in its natural store environment, and they're not beat cigars. But that was because there was no tobacco.
Where was it?
Italy.
Oh. Well, and that's what I was, well, before I get into that, don't let me forget, I got 2 points here. I have to sometimes preface that I have 2 points when we're talking.
Right.
Even Boswell, I mean, his sign says J.M. Boswell Pipes and Cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But my second point I was going to say is, I was talking about this today. We may be jumping the gun on saying this aloud, but the people over here at PipeCast might be dabbling in the art of estate restoration and sales and such. We were talking about it earlier, either last week or earlier this week, about I was mentioning the fact that selling pipes is easy business. Like there's nothing any kind of regulations you got to worry about, but selling tobacco,
that's a nightmare.
It's almost like it's not the same, but it's almost like you can sell guns. Or, how like politicians that are for gun control, sometimes they're not going to do anything to hurt the sale of guns, but they're gonna limit the sale of ammo, and that's where the stuff goes down, because a gun, you can't do anything with a gun unless you got ammo. But yeah, so like the thing, you got to be in some states 21, in our state 18. You got to be that old to partake or to buy and partake of tobacco. But you can be however old you want to be and buy a pipe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So like the selling of a pipe, there's so much. It's just so much easier, and I don't even think I would ever get involved in selling tobacco, secondhand or firsthand or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be, it'd probably be a fruitless endeavor anyway, because
you're not going to make your money back.
Yeah, man, I mean, like, it would be hard.
Look at brick and mortars today. The internet is not killing them. I mean, there's a lot of good brick and mortars that probably will be around forever.
I don't think you should ever bail out on a brick and mortar.
No.
But I also think that the premium that you pay at a brick and mortar, makes people a little standoffish about it. I can get tobacco cheaper online.
Oh yeah.
But with that said, okay, so I have my brick and mortar. I'm competing with the population.
Yeah.
Of this town. I'm not competing with the population of the world.
Yeah.
Or the country or whatever,
Yeah. Well, and we have the added benefit of being in like Alabama. Like, if we were in Washington, like, brick and mortar is probably the only thing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Some places won't sell or won't, like, you can't order tobacco.
You can order tobacco I know you can't do it in Utah.
I think it's Washington. I think I've seen a couple times where it says something like the blend won't deliver to a Washington resident address.
That is annoying.
Yeah. I think Stephen Things has mentioned that before. The Washington laws and how they sort of suck when it comes to ordering tobacco.
Is he a Washington resident?
Yeah, I think he's Seattle.
Wow.
Or no, is it Belmont, Belford? It's like a little city outside of Seattle. Belling, I don't know. It starts with a B. I went through it when I was up there late last summer. I went through that town.
You like it?
I don't really remember much about it. Probably because I don't really remember. I probably just went through it on the interstate or something. I don't remember. I just remember seeing the sign. I like Seattle, yeah, but I can't really remember too much about that city or town, whatever it is. But yeah, so in places like that, I mean, it almost benefits the brick and mortar. I mean, let's just say if Alabama had those kind of laws, then we would be dependent upon the brick and mortar.
Silver lining, maybe?
Yeah, so I mean, even though I'm pretty, which people probably have already guessed, I'm pretty anti-regulation. Like, not for everything, but regulation in moderation. But that's sort of like sometimes, I mean, there's silver linings to it. Mm-hmm. You put a regulation on being able to sell or, buy tobacco online and get it sent to your house in a certain state. Guess what? You're supporting your brick and mortar a lot more now.
Can't help it. It's just something naturally occurs.
Yeah. So, sometimes there's things that hurts the individual, but helps the community at large,
Right.
maybe. So you can't really discredit it, Well,
can't unless the thing wrenches down and destroys those businesses.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, a kiss of regulation.
Yeah,
a whisper.
Yeah. But so sorry, we actually spent longer on this one, even though we liked Escudo more.
Well, that happens. I mean, it happens. Like, I mean, obviously,
we just got to talk.
Well, we also critiqued Elizabethan like right out of the gate. I think you and I were a little dissatisfied. For those of you who don't know, we do taste these before we come into it. We're not just lighting up and tasting just out of the gate all the time. Sometimes we have a little background in it.
Yeah.
From just smoking in the past or doing it during the weekend or something like that. And I can tell you, man, this blend is lackluster. So, I tell you what, my recommendation that if you have Elizabethan tins, throw them away. Don't even sell them to someone.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say cellar them up and hope it gets better with age. Maybe in 10 years it'll be close to a Escudo.
Maybe. But then again, in 10 years, a Escudo is going to be, I don't know, what is next to godliness? There you go.
For you, Reiner probably, or Fillmore.
Oh, Reiner Gold. I can't believe you guys didn't pick that. I'm disappointed in you. It's probably because there's some burley in it and a little topping of honey, and you guys probably are jaded about it. But, but I really want to try that curly block, because I hear that's like the legit big kid on the corner. And Peter Heinrich, man, that guy knows what's up. I'm pretty much wrapped up here.
Me too. So we hope you enjoy it, and come back tomorrow and we'll jump into that luxury bullseye flake.
All right.
Peace.